Okay. I think I'm on air with a new microphone, new sound system. Um, actually, currently situated in Hong Kong. The backdrop that I have is Myanmar. Uh,
Mm,
People know what's going on in Yangon over the last few weeks has been terrible. And while in London, I have commentator, writer, independent journalist friend of mine, Ken Morooka. Ken,
mm,
it's good to do this dialogue thing with you, even though we are in two different continents. It is quite important to let people know that there's a lot of things going on. First of all, you have been following up on the Hong Kong situation. We met in 2019 when you were observing the democracy movement in Hong Kong, and then you write, and then you are as a commentator. You after you left Hong Kong, you still have been um, very concerned about what's going on, and today is the last day of the quarter. And as you know, the enactment of the national security law in Hong Kong has been more than surreal. More
mm,
than 100 people were arrested and will be tried under the national security law, the NSL. Um, and in the 2019 democracy movement, more than 10,000 people were arrested. Charges were laid, and we just don't have a democratic election anymore,
mm,
as the outside world know. But there are
mm,
lots of things going on in this world, COVID-19 being one, and then the world's attention is kind of shifted to what happened in Myanmar, a military coup, totalitarian regime, you name it. Now, my friend Ken actually comes from a medical background. He was an emergency room doctor before he became a journalist, which is
mm.
quite unique. Ken, it's good to have you here at the Etchin channel. So, how do you think about the situation now in Hong Kong? We have lost our free, so-called semi-free election, and now
Mm.
everything has to be blessed by Beijing. It's
Yeah,
different from the joint declaration that we all get uh, that people were expected to have, and now everything
mm,
seems like it's history.
mm.
What do you think
Yeah.
of it?
Actually, we feel very sad to see Hong Kong becoming just one of the cities of mainland. Yeah, but I don't believe it will last so long. China succeeded, Xi Jinping succeeded in the removal of Donald Trump. They boast too much. Now they think they can do anything to expand their hegemony. And they also commit the military coup in Myanmar. Yeah, they are now creating many chaotic situations around the world. Yeah. Now they are thinking to attack Taiwan as well, and they are also creating a totalitarian regime in Thailand. Yeah, and in this way, they think they can conquer all Asian countries, and also they think they can control the Middle East and some area of Europe.
Hmm.
But their weak point is they don't care about how the world is seeing them. Yeah, they are
Right.
ignorant. Now the world is more awakened about the true face of the threat of CCP. Yeah,
Yeah.
and China is kind of big elephant. Big elephant is strong against big animals like tiger or lion. Yeah. And Trump the United States of Trump was a kind of lion, but unfortunately, Trump was defeated by the strategy of CCP by using the coronavirus or Black Lives Matter movement. But big elephant can be defeated by a swarm of ants. Yeah, one ant cannot do anything, but if millions of small ants work together, it can defeat the big elephant. So I believe it will happen from now. Yeah, China disregards the power of the people. Yeah, but if the people of the world work together, it's like a swarm of ants and can defeat this totalitarianism.
I want to ask you one thing, Ken. I mention it like publicly too. It's people, of course, they talk about the genocide in Xinjiang, and then now there's a boycott of the cotton, right? Like in Xinjiang. I look at our situation in Hong Kong now; it's more like a cultural genocide. I mean, I use that word very carefully when I say cultural genocide because we are suddenly losing our so-called two systems as Deng Xiaoping promised. And then it seems like the current regime, they want to belittle Deng Xiaoping as well. Because when a lot of people, when they relocate back to Hong Kong, especially in the 90s, they think, like if China gets modernized, definitely the rule of law would be more intact and then they will follow more international standards. But it seems like after a few leaders, Jiang Zemin, Wu Jintao, and now President Xi, it seems like this wolf warrior mentality, it's getting, according to the critics, out of control. And even some of the ambassadors in different parts of the world, for instance, one person, I can't remember his rank, talk about Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, as like a sleeping dog for the US, things like that, right? So this wolf warrior mentality, it seems like it's more than surreal. And seems like they're not afraid of anything.
Yeah, what's going on in Hong Kong can never happen in Western countries or modern democratic countries. It's very abnormal. Yeah, but China doesn't think it's abnormal. It's very normal for them. But world is watching, and world is thinking what is very abnormal is going on in Hong Kong. So now we are realizing the true face of CCP.
Is it just President Xi that the world should be focusing on, or is it the Chinese Communist Party itself?
Yeah, but Xi Jinping himself has a personality as a dictator. Through our spiritual investigation, in his past life, he was Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, Genghis Khan. Yes.
Yeah,
and there are many similarities between Communist China and Mongolian Empire. But as you know, Mongolian Empire collapsed because of not only they faced the big enemy, but it collapsed because of the internal separation. Right. So same thing will happen. Internal separation and also natural disasters and also plagues.
Wow. But since you have been to Hong Kong many times and you stayed there for quite a long time during 2019, and you probably have follow the stories of some of the young activists.
Yeah, yeah,
As you know, some of them are spending quite harsh jail term.
yeah, yeah.
Agnes
Very
Chow
sorry.
being one, Joshua Wong,
Yeah,
another so-called public figure.
yeah.
Do you think after they serve their sentence, which is disturbance of public order,
Mm.
do you think the totalitarian regime would come up with some other ridiculous charges, which is against the national security law? So they will be locked up even further. Now, you know the Apple Daily founder, Jimmy Lai, since you are in
Yeah.
journalism as well, and also as a
Mm.
commentator.
Mm. I
He
know.
is not tried yet, but he has been detained since
Mm.
December. So right now we are approaching April
Mm.
already. And
Mm.
some of these like detainment could last for like 1 or 2 years before the
Mm.
actual trial. So that
Mm.
means they locked up people just like Lao Xiaobo or Li Wangyang in China. So Hong Kong, it seems like the judicial system is almost like 100% the totalitarian regime way. No
Yeah.
different anymore. Is that how you
Mm.
read it?
Yeah. So they should be released immediately. So all the world should pressure Chinese Communist Party to release those political dissidents. So we should work immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are very concerned about their situations. Agnes Cho is only 20 some years old young girl.
Agnes, yes. I think
Yeah,
23. 23.
only 23. Yeah, and
Yeah.
she cannot deserve such imprisonment.
I mean, if Hong Kong follows the so-called genuine one country, two systems, as Deng Xiaoping promised,
Mm.
then, like these prominent figures, Jimmy Lai being one, Professor Benny Tai, they could be contestants for top government jobs, could be
Mm.
contesting at least to be the
Mm.
next chief executive in the running race for 2022. I think for Jimmy Lai and then for Professor Benny Tai, he could be one of the best DOJ, Department of Justice head, right?
Mm.
And then
Mm.
even like Joshua Wong, as I said, like in my column, that he doesn't have a lot of work experience, but he could be a good deputy in youth programs, same as Agnes. But now
Mm.
the way they locked up the so-called opposition voices is quite concerning.
Mm. Yeah. So even in Europe, some countries still regard China as a big market, but now the people, more and more people, are choosing justice or human rights over economic benefit.
Which is a good thing. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
So we should raise our voices more and more louder.
Right.
In the end, the power of the people will change the world. Now we cannot rely on the United States, or we cannot rely on any government of the countries, any countries, but we people should raise our voice, yeah, and try to change the world. Justice
We all,
always
yeah,
prevailed.
we all want to be optimistic, and it's very dark now in Hong Kong. Even though you won't believe how discouraged I am sometimes.
Mm.
I don't look too discouraged when I'm on air with you, but there are so many months that so many nights. I guess it's not just me. I guess Hong Kong people in general,
Mm.
and also like I empathize with what's going on in Myanmar as well. It's very
Mm.
dark right now
Yeah.
because it seems like these totalitarian power they suddenly they evolve into something that's so uncontrollable. It seems like
Mm.
nothing is able to stop them. But then from a journalist perspective, from a commentator perspective, Ken, what would be your biggest fear about Hong Kong? Do you think we could be like another Myanmar? They stopped the Wi-Fi during the evening time, like from 1 a.m. to, I don't know, like 6 or 7, right? So if they block the internet, if there's no more freedom of dissemination of information, put it this way, then
Yeah,
Hong Kong game over.
as a worst situation, it's possible because the coup d'état in Myanmar is also backed by CCP. So now the CCP or Xi Jinping is thinking they can do anything in the world. No one can stop them. That's their way of thinking. Yeah. So, but it is always darkest before dawn.
Right.
Yeah. And when from the spiritual perspective, it is a battle between devil and angels, or heaven and hell. Devil can win temporarily, but devil cannot continue winning. Yeah. Devil will be defeated in the end, always. So the day will come.
I like you mentioned about the spiritual aspect of things, because I find it difficult every time when I talk about look at a kingdom perspective, because I, as a Christian, I understand, like suffering is part of redemption, part of salvation. Sometimes you need that suffering as well.
Yeah.
And then when people from Hong Kong, they have been blessed with the economic success during the colonial era. And even honestly, I still think that after the 1997 handover, the first 10 years or so, it wasn't that bad, because the totalitarian regime they don't want to disclose the true face of it, right? So it was not bad, even though we experienced SARS in 2003 and all that. And then the economy also recovered. But what's bad about Hong Kong is they just think too much about the business side of things. And then it seems to be too late that Hong Kongers, they don't look into the human rights situation, the press freedom, the freedom of expression, the freedom to vote. And then it became kind of late when everything, kind of fell apart. And when you mentioned about the kingdom perspective, even though we have a different religious belief, but I guess ultimately, I think the higher being will be the ultimate judge, will make the ultimate judgment of what's good and what is evil. And it's important to think of it this way. So the temporary suffering that people have right now, the detainment, the inhumane condition that they are facing right now, would be a witness to what they believe in, which is the religious belief, which is important to uphold, what they believe in, especially under detainment in prison.
Yeah, so I think we human beings have to take responsibility to what's going on in this world. Yeah, because God entrusted this earth to human beings. And it is the Western countries and Japan who help CCP growing, who helped Communist China growing during these few decades, actually. Yeah. So we should learn lessons. We have been too optimistic about the future of CCP. Yeah. But now we clearly realized the true face. Yeah. So now the time, it's not too late to take action against it. We have to stop the hegemony of CCP and change the situation. and we should work together to change this situation. I don't think it's too late.
Okay. And I just want to switch focus a little bit about from China to the US side. Now, as we all are acutely aware, like the way Hong Kong people and Taiwan people, when they look at the Trump administration, they were expecting a lot of things from, for instance, Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, and also Donald Trump as someone who could, or under Trump's administration, they could defend, darkness versus, like the good side, right? So were you disappointed when Trump lost the second term yourself personally? Were you a little bit disappointed? Because we did talk about it a few months ago as well. We thought Trump would win the election, but it seems like the institution is also very strong in the U.S., meaning the leftists, or those who are, well, definitely the leftists, they control the technology company, the media, right? They want to oust Trump because Trump is more like someone who is not from the institution. Is more like a disruptor of sorts, right? Were you surprised, when Trump got defeated?
Yeah, in a sense, CCP is very wise, and now many part of the United States is under the control of CCP, like many mass media, mainstream media, and also GAFA. Yeah, CCP can control those powers.
You mean the Chinese Communist Party?
Yeah.
Right. Like the Confucius Institute, for instance.
Yeah. Like not only Confucius Institute, but there are many agents in the United States, and also GAFA, GAFA, Google and Amazon. Yeah, they are also under the control of CCP.
Right.
And also the mainstream mass media, like CNN, they are also controlled by CCP, Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
And now there are many communists now in the United States, like the Vice President Kamala Harris. She is also pro-China, pro-communist. Yeah.
Right.
But I believe many of the people in the United States will also awaken in near future.
Right.
And Trump or his colleague will be elected in the next presidential election, 2024.
You think he will run again?
Or if it's impossible, he will push some of his colleagues.
A protege of sorts, right?
Yeah. It might be his daughter or his son-in-law.
Yeah. You think Mike Pompeo may be his one of his picks?
Yeah, it's also possible.
Yeah. Well,
so United States will come back again, but during these 4 years, Biden is a weak leader. He cannot be trusted.
You think so?
Yeah, he can say some strong words, but he cannot take any strong action against China.
Right. Well, I guess a lot of people are concerned about the thing called strategic patience of Joe Biden under the current administration. Even Blinken, they just talk the talk, but not really walk the walk, right?
Yeah.
No actions, just like very good talker, but then nothing is done.
Yeah, without action, China will never change their course.
Well, everyone is looking for, I guess, miracle. Everyone wants the world to be a better place, but then I know as we are approaching Good Friday, which is a day symbolizes the crucifixion of Christ. Of course, it's
Mm,
symbolic to the Catholics and also to the Christians. Let's
mm,
not forget about all the sufferings that's going on in this world, all
mm,
the injustices, and just pray that God, the Almighty,
mm,
His righteousness will be revealed
mm.
sooner
Yeah,
or later.
there are 7 billion people on Earth. Yeah, so all people take some small action. Yeah, it can, as a whole, it can become a big power.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so all people should do something to change this world better place.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ken. I guess I'm going to end the broadcast now, and I want
Yeah,
to
thank
talk to you
you.
more privately
Yeah,
after I switch off
okay.
now.
Thank you.
Don't leave yet.